to the Black girl who's ever resisted joy because it felt too good to be true or unsafe, this one is for you. This month, we're talking about healing by stepping into something new. And we're going to talk in this episode a lot more about leaning into the vulnerability of joy. We are going to get a little deeper into what feels so vulnerable about feeling joy and allowing joy, as well as why we sometimes cling to the safety of hiding, but how we can use joy not as a destination of healing, but the path there. It's Kaylin, a licensed clinical social worker in Atlanta, Georgia, and this is the Black Girl Seen podcast where we talk all things feeling seen, known, and loved as we journey through healing. Today, we're going to get into a side of vulnerability that I don't think always gets as much conversation, which is the vulnerability of joy. And to help me tackle this topic today, I have another one of my amazing colleagues here to chat with me. Please welcome Jessica Vickers. She is a California-based licensed marriage and family therapist, a certified perinatal mental health counselor, and a proud Disney adult. She owns her private practice and specializes in working with women of color and women on their journeys through motherhood. Jessica founded the Happiest Healers Club, which is quite literally the Happiest Healers Club, for mental health practitioners who choose to network joyfully. She's been featured in the San Francisco Gate as the defender of Disney adults and aims to bring joy and healing to others, both online and in real life. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited. I feel like I spend like half my time online
Yeah,
watching the
all of us these
Happiest
days.
Healers Club and just being like, I wish I was there right now.
I know. We wish you would, you'll fly out one day. We'll
I'll
have a,
fly
a
out
big
one day.
event and that would be fun.
Yes, I love it. So I like to get started by asking my guests, how are you allowing yourself to be seen in this season of your life?
That's a good one. I recently read Chandra Rhimes' book, A Year of Yes. And I was kind of laughing because I'm like, I feel like I already live by this, but I think she really just encouraged more of saying yes to things. So I've really been putting myself out there in the community, whether it's at my kids' public school or just local volunteer events. So showing up more in the community and then showing up online. I started
Yeah.
just posting these really kind of maybe silly or cringe, some would say, but authentic posts about
Yes.
being a therapist who loves Disneyland or being a Disney adult or being a working mom. And some posts have really resonated with people. The followers are like going up, up, up. And it's just like mind blowing that people want to follow, you. So that's been fun, like being seen online and in such a new light and really gaining a community there.
Yeah, I hear that. It's so interesting. Like when you're like, I do say yes, I do scary things, but there's always another
Mm-hmm.
level to unlock. And
Yes.
so then you keep finding new ways to
Yes.
be more visible in the world. And I can absolutely tell you that your posts and your stories bring joy. And they're not cringe to me, but I'm the type of person
Thanks.
who will literally watch Disney tonight. I'll watch a Disney movie
Yes. And
by
that's the
myself.
thing. And I know we'll get into it, but I feel like Disney has like a bad rep and we don't need to like,
Yeah.
stroke their ego this whole podcast, but like it can bring such joy and it's just like such a fun place. I'm very lucky to live like 20 minutes from Disneyland. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm able to go all the time and film content there and I started gathering therapists who want to network joyfully there, like you
Yes.
said. So it's
Yes.
been fun. And like you said, it's been fun unlocking this new level of like really showing myself and being seen in that way.
Yes. And I think you walk so well into like my first question, which is that I find that joy is like a core part of your work. How
Mhm.
did that unfold for you? Like, tell us a little bit more about your work, but then how joy and happiness and fun and pleasure became a part of how you help others heal.
Yeah. I really think in 2020, like the year was 2020. We
Yes.
all were there. We all
That's like
remember.
all our origin story now. It's like, so in
Yes,
2020,
that's
because
the
that's when
origin.
I started Black Girl Scene in 2020.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes, amazing. We were all bored in the house bored.
Yep.
We were
Yep.
scared, terrified. My entire practice went from being in person to online. Then
Yeah.
in June, you see George Floyd and you start to see the
Mhm.
Black Lives Matter movement really taking off. And
Mhm.
just feeling like this helplessness, this
Mhm.
hopelessness. It was an election year, and now we're back in an administration that I really feel is like the opposite of joy
Mhm.
and
That's
safety and
right.
happiness. I'm
That's
sorry, but
right.
we'll say it.
Complete
So
opposite.
yeah, complete. And so I noticed like depression skyrocketed, right? Depression and
Yeah.
anxiety were through the roof in ourselves, in clients, in our communities. So I really just started, and then Disneyland shut down and we're like our
Ah,
happy
no,
place.
that's so
We
true.
were taking
Yeah.
it for granted because I had a pass. Again, I live here. I had a very young son at the time. We would just go on like a Sunday afternoon and it was so fun. It shut down for a year. And in that year, I was like, we need to start creating our own joy.
Mm.
And I started posting a little bit online, but really more recently, and especially again in 2024 election year, I was like, okay, we have to create our own joy because it's not coming for us naturally.
Mhm. Mhm.
We have to practice gratitudes. We have to go seek out joy, and joy as resistance really became
Mhm.
like my motto. So,
Mhm.
rest as is resistance,
Mhm.
joy is resistance. Like we can do those things, and we should, and we need to do those things in order to keep going, right? In order to keep fighting,
Absolutely.
in order to keep carrying on with our community.
Yeah, I love that. I think you reminded me that there was an article that came out. So I have a Caribbean background, Caribbean
Mhm.
heritage, and Carnival didn't happen that year. And
Mm,
a huge publication did a story on the links between depression and these cultural
yes.
exhibitions of joy that we
Yeah.
relied on to get through hard times. And I think that was one of my first times that I think I always saw joy as a result of healing, not as the path to
Mm.
it.
Wow, wow, that was really powerful. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna be posting that one.
please,
Yeah.
please.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's how we function. We're like, I want to get there to being happy, but
Yes.
didn't see it as a facilitator.
Yes. And I've noticed that too with people being like, "Oh, well, if I go on vacation, I'll find the happiness." And like,
Yep.
yes, you will. And, destination happiness is one thing, but then to actively be bringing joy into your daily life, ideally, that's how you get that true happiness and joy. To me, joy is like an
Mhm.
active happiness, right? Like
Yeah.
happiness is like this passive feeling that I feel, and I feel happy, like I'm content, I'm excited. But
Mhm.
joy is like, okay, what am I actively engaging in and proactively engaging in to heal, to repair, to keep going? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you distinguish, like, destination happiness or
Hmm.
destination joy versus,
Hmm.
like, the actual practice of it and
Yes.
a choosing it, like, you have a choice to
Yes.
get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that. I'm curious if you could share a little bit more of your relationship with joy, because mine's been pretty strained. I think I kinda
Mm.
just hinted at, like, I hadn't always seen it as a pathway, and so
Hmm.
I wanna hear more. Like, what's your relationship with joy been like?
Yeah, if I think back, of course, like I think many of us have happy childhood moments, honestly, and I share this in SF Gate. Like one of my happiest moments was my mom and dad waking us up for a school day only to find out we were going to Disneyland. So
Mhm,
there's certainly happy moments. That was such a childhood core memory for me. There was also a lot of unhappy times,
mhm,
and going through adolescence and feeling awkward. And for me, I was like the only Black girl at my Orange County
mhm,
schools,
mhm.
period. Like my
Ugh.
mom, my dad, my sisters, and I were the only Black people in our neighborhood, in our
Mhm.
town. Really, there was like maybe one or two other families around. So I would feel awkward. I think I kind of felt like I needed to be funny, and like people would give me like the Oreo, comments or the token
Mhm,
comments. And I
mhm,
think I just kind of rolled with it. And then I
mhm,
got to this like self awareness point where I was
mhm,
like, this isn't okay. Like,
mhm,
I'm going to stop just being the clown to make all these white people around me comfortable, but I'm
Right.
going to take joy into my own hands, and I'm going to take my sense of humor into my hands, and
Mhm.
really kind of stand up for what's not cool and not
Mhm.
just humor people, but really do things for myself, right? So I started,
Mhm.
when I could afford like the luxury of going and getting manicures. Like to me, like that's so relaxing. And like I look at my
Yeah.
nails and I feel pretty, and like
Yeah.
that brings
Yes.
me a sense of joy. Obviously, being able to afford a Disneyland pass is huge, which, side note, I tell everyone this. My mother in law pays for my pass.
Ah,
Every
good for you.
Christmas, yes, every Christmas she renews my pass. That's her Christmas gift to me every year because I don't need slippers. I don't need pajamas. I don't need
Right.
picture
Yes.
frames, like, I don't need cooking wear, like, whatever mother-in-laws wanna give
Yeah.
you. Like, I wanted a Disneyland pass. That was something that I knew brought me
Yeah.
joy, and we were able to go, like, weekly or every other week or so. So
Mhm.
y'all, ask your mother-in-laws and your moms and your grandmas and your aunties and your sisters to chip in for your
Right.
passes or your tickets if you wanna fly
Right.
in once a year. Um, but
Yeah.
anyways, like, really just finding things that actually bring me joy rather than what like I think I need to do to go along to get along, right? So that was kind of
Yeah.
a
But
long-winded way of
no,
sharing like how I've found my joy.
that was so good because, like, there's so many things that came up there. The
Mhm.
first being that, yes, I do want someone to pay for my Disney pass, but
Yes.
also, like, so I'm really bad at when people do say, like, "Hey, what do you want for Christmas?" As a single person who's an
Mm,
aunt and whose
mhm,
relationship to others, I'm always like, "Well, let me get everyone something and I'll be fine."
mhm.
And then you wake up on Christmas morning and then you don't have a mother-in-law, you don't have a husband, so you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." But then, like, choosing to ask for things that bring you joy. Like, it is
Yes.
okay to say, "Hey, I do want something for this holiday, for
Oh my
this
gosh, yes.
occasion," and that it
Yes.
can be more than just a gift card. Like, that maybe I do wanna put thought into what I need to feel happiness and
Yes.
joy. And then I thought about joy as a mask and joy as service to others, but not for
Mhm.
you.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Which one do we wanna tackle first?
I
I'll
know.
go in your order, and 1 and
Mhm.
2 kind of go together. It's like, I think so often women are just taught to caretake, and especially women
Mhm.
of color, and this actually now is
Mhm.
bleeding into part 3, which is, like, doing for others, being a
Yep.
martyr, like, "Oh, I'm fine,"
Yes.
and, like, you just
Yes.
someone gives you a candle. It's like a
Right.
candle and a bottle of wine. You're like, "Thank
Right.
you," and
Yay.
that's fine.
That's your
Um
jam.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I love me a candle, like
Yeah.
some wine in the bubble bath, like whatever.
Mhm.
But really thinking about what brings me happiness. Like,
Mhm.
is it I really want new hiking shoes because I want to start
Mhm.
hiking and like those are expensive. So let me ask, if both of my sisters put in 50
Mhm.
bucks, there's my
Mhm.
shoes. There's I think a way to kind of start being more assertive with our
Mhm.
happiness and joy that's okay.
Mhm.
I think women of color, like we do so much for everyone else. You're thinking of your nephews. Like I
Mhm.
already, the Easter baskets are ready, but like what do
Right.
I want for Mother's Day? Like I don't need another mug.
Mhm.
I
That's
love my
right.
mug collection. I love my mug collection, but like maybe I just want to spend the day hiking, going to Disneyland, going to the beach, and
Yeah.
how can I allow other people to support me?
Mhm.
Because I say this to my clients all the time, your community wants to support you. Let
Yeah.
them, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I think a step further because I know so many folks are like, how do I know that? Or what if I don't have that kind of community? And then my response is any community that deserves to be your community wants to support you.
Yes.
And that we're allowed to create that as a way that we can create safety for ourselves. Like it's
Yes.
not that it's normal for people to not want to support me and I have to get out. I just have to get with that. It's
Yeah.
normal actually that people do want to support me
Yeah.
and I get to move toward that.
What a
I
layer of vulnerability, right? Like to be
right.
joyful and to be asking of
Mhm.
others, joyful with
Mhm.
others and in community.
Mhm.
Like I think so many people, a lot of men really struggle with that, with
Mhm.
keeping friendships and keeping the spark alive with friends. I think we're
Mhm.
so used to, and man, in 2020 we sure did like just hermit in,
Yeah.
not ask for much, like not
Yeah.
express too much or be too much, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think I see at least once a day online someone saying, "We need to go touch grass," and I really agree with that. Like, there
Yes.
really is this, like, I think even contextualizing joy, this expectation that it's just supposed to happen and not that we have to go out into this big, beautiful world and find it.
Mhm.
And oh my God, I have so many thoughts. Like another thing that came up for me is I've been solo traveling for the last year, kind of.
Amazing.
And it's like mini trips and bigger trips. So my first solo international trip was Paris, and I'd been wanting to go to Paris since I was a
Oh my
teenager. So
gosh.
I spent the whole trip crying because I was so happy to be there.
I
Like
would
happy tears,
too.
right?
I would too.
And so then, of course, now the world is changing and travel's looking a little iffy for a lot of reasons.
Mm.
But every time I come back, I always say, I have to be a traveler in my own space. I want
Mhm.
to be a traveler here. I want to be actively seeking joy here. Kind of what you said with
Yes.
vacation. I don't want to just wait for the next flight to be
Yes.
curious and open. I meet so many strangers on my solo trips. Like I'm like
Yes.
collecting friends around the world,
No, same.
but I don't necessarily do that day to day. My head is down and I'm
Yeah.
locked in. And
Mhm.
when I am finding joy, it often is, just to be honest, it often is connected to how I served that day, how I gave that day. And
Oh,
so
wow, yep.
I'm really hearing that like we we don't always position joy and pleasure
Yes.
for ourselves
Yeah.
on our calendars and in our regular lives.
No, totally. I mean, tell me why no matter where I go out to dinner or lunch or wherever, I never order a drink. Because
Uh-huh.
I'm so like, that's so ingrained in me that, like, that's something rich people do. Like, as a
Yeah.
kid, like, you could never order the soda. So
Yes.
recently, I've started like, I'm on, like, a matcha mission. I'm on a matcha journey. I've
Mhm.
never, like, drank matcha in my life until, like, 3 weeks ago at California Adventure. I tried it. I was like, "This tastes like
Mhm.
green tea ice cream. I really like this." So now in
Yes.
like you said, a traveler in my own city, like, I'm starting to seek out these coffee houses and these tea
Yeah.
places that I've never even looked at, you know? And so
Mhm.
getting curious, getting excited. Again, I'm very
Mhm.
like, if you need to save your money, save your money. But for me, I'm like
Yeah.
$6 a week for a
Mhm.
matcha that's gonna bring me joy. I can do that. I went out and got a matcha on
Mhm.
my lunch break from work yesterday. It was so
Mhm.
good. It brought me so much joy and pleasure. And I'm like, why have I been
Yeah.
depriving myself for so
Ugh.
long?
Oh my goodness. I mean, you're just reading my mind because I think we're all mindful of not only our money, but our
Mhm.
time and our
Mhm.
safety right now.
Yeah.
And joy, not to be cliche, but joy doesn't have to cost much. And I do
Yeah.
also think we get to budget our joy. We get to
Yeah.
budget our time and money for
Mhm.
joy. I totally hear that. Sometimes I'm the happiest person because I go to the movies. Like do you know how happy I am that these like
Yes.
movies are coming out? Like
Wait, I'm
movies are
so
happening
excited to see
again.
Project Hail Mary because I read the book,
Listen,
so I'm super excited, and I wanna take my kids to go see the Mario movie next week. I can't
right?
wait.
And
But
then
I
we
would
have the
never do that
rom-com coming
before.
out. Exactly. Like, well,
Yes.
I did do it before, but it wasn't like again, partly because of COVID, but then it was
Yeah.
kind of like, I don't know. I think some of it is my own comfort with solitude. Like I'll go to the
Mm.
movies by myself. I'll do
Yeah.
most things alone.
Yeah.
But also I think it was just this cultural shift around like there has to be a special occasion or special people
Yes.
or special time. But now you can absolutely like every
Go on
Tuesday
a
I just get the
Tuesday
urge to go to
night.
the movies, even
Yes,
though
and
I don't
get the
always go.
popcorn, and get the
Yes.
popcorn and bring in your own Diet Coke to save a
Yeah,
little
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I got
I
a little
recently learned, I don't know if this is true everywhere, but we went to the movie theaters and my sister was kinda like she's like, "Oh, I should have snuck in a Coke or a candy or something." And then the guy who was the cashier, he goes, "You know that you're allowed to bring food into the movie theaters?" I was like, "We don't gotta sneak it no more." I don't know if that was just them or what, but I was like, "Okay, so now I bring my Coke Zero and I order the
just like
popcorn."
that's so
No
funny.
hiding it
I mean,
anymore.
well, I take pride in how I hide it because growing up, like we
Oh,
hid
yeah,
it.
you'd be, like,
We
putting
knew
that
how
burrito
to
in your pocket.
exactly.
We
But
couldn't afford that.
right, like we weren't doing that. Now, like sometimes you just don't want to.
Yeah.
But even I think I'm fortunate in Atlanta. There's just like a festival every day at this when the sun comes
Yeah.
out. And most of them don't cost money. You just spend money when you get there.
Yeah.
I just think it's like you get to be so creative, but you also get
Yeah.
to plan for it, because
Mhm.
I know for me, I've gotten to a point where I ebb and flow my grocery bill with my going out to eat bill. And like, I start to tell myself, like, hey, sometimes you choose not to spend time with your community because you're going to spend money, but you bought groceries.
Mhm.
You don't cook like
Mhm.
that, girl. Stop buying all those groceries. They're too
Yeah.
expensive
Go
anyway.
have fun.
Go have fun, go eat, go see the community, go support Black owned businesses, like make
Mm.
room for that in advance. And I think that's the piece we try to shove joy into our lives at
Yeah.
the end of the week, at the end of the day, not
Yeah.
realizing we get to find a way in it. But clearly we learned that from somewhere. So then it brings up the
Yes.
question for me about that vulnerability of joy, though, the parts of it that does create
Mhm.
fear,
Mhm.
hesitation, anxiety.
Mhm.
Can we talk
Mhm.
about that? Because not everyone can probably go down the Rolodex of pleasurable activities like we just did. So what are your thoughts
Right.
about that?
I'm thinking of, like, the person who never dances at the wedding, right? Like,
Mhm,
they sit and they watch because 'cause I'm a bad dancer, or, I'll look goofy, or I don't like my body size right now and how I look in this dress, so I don't wanna go put myself out, center stage for people to
mhm,
have eyes on me,
mhm.
and I think there is a vulnerability in, like, putting yourself out there, letting loose, having fun. In a way, you have to not care what people think, right? Like,
Yeah.
if I'm on a roller coaster,
Mhm.
I am sounding goofy. Like, there's
Yeah.
probably like tears streaming out of my eyes. I'm like laughing,
Mhm.
screaming. My voice is going up, down, everything in between. Like, I get off, like, my
Mhm.
abs hurt from laughing and just screaming and
Yes.
everything. But it's
Yes.
vulnerable to just like be free and like physically
Yes.
to put yourself out there, spiritually, energetically. And so I think a lot of
Yes.
people hide back,
Yeah.
and we have to kind of slowly with time with therapy,
Mhm.
shout out, we always are
Mhm.
recommending therapy, we all
Yeah.
can use it, but, like,
Yeah.
building that self-confidence, and also
Mhm.
getting out of your head. Nobody's looking at you. Like, if
Yeah.
people are watching you dance, first of all, that says everything about them, nothing about you. Second of all, you probably look kinda cool and fun, and third, they're just picking up on the joyful energy, and that is contagious. So my husband and I are always the first ones on a dance floor because that just is freeing. It feels physically good. We're getting our endorphins, right? And it's just energetically so fun. Like it's freeing and other people will join you, and you
Yeah.
bond in that way. But again, it is very scary to put yourself out there. What if nobody
Mhm.
sees me? What if I go for me, I okay, so the first time I hosted a Happiest Healers Club meetup, which I get into, but I put it out there. So I started just posting about going to Disneyland all the time and how fun it is for myself alone sometimes family, sometimes date night, sometimes like a girls' night, whatever. People started DMing me, "We wanna go to Disneyland with you. We wanna go to Disneyland with you.
Mhm.
I also love Disneyland, like, can I meet up with you?" And I would even, like, kind of meet up a little bit one-on-one, and I'd always feel like a celebrity because people would be like, "You're the Disney therapist," and, like, we took a
Yes.
picture, and, like, I had such a good time. So
Ah.
the first time I was like, "Okay, let me do an actual meetup," but it was terrifying. It was like, "Who do I
Mhm.
think I am?" Right? Like, that voice came in my head, like, "Who do
Mhm.
I think I am that people are gonna come to Disneyland to hang
Wow.
out with me?" Get
Mhm.
put your like, check your ego at the door, so that was going on, and then it was
Mhm.
like, "What if nobody shows up? What if 2 people show up and it's so awkward and, like, you guys
Yeah.
don't vibe and now you're stuck with them for the day?" Or, like, there were so many thoughts and anxious feelings and self-deprecating thoughts happening, right? What happened?
Mhm.
I hosted it. There was like 15 of us. It was the best day
Mhm.
ever. We took a
Mm.
picture in front of the castle. They like put like Tinkerbell in my hands at the photo pass. Like it was such a good day and people can
I
come in
love
and out at
that.
their comfort levels, but I really had to be vulnerable of like posting online and showing up in person,
Mhm.
and it created this total joy opportunity for all of these
Yeah.
clinicians who deserve rest and joy in their lives.
Yeah. Uh, so something about me is I come up with far too many ideas. Like it's insane because now I'm just like, because I've followed you and I know what you're talking about. Because
Yeah.
first you have the connection point of yay, another adult who wants to be in a theme park and like
Yeah.
be a kid and all of that.
Mhm.
But then also like, oh my gosh, other providers who want to be together and support each other in that way. And I'm like,
Yes.
well, yeah, I'm a flight away and I'll make it one day. But then I'm like, oh my gosh, like we should be following your lead in other spaces. We should be, we should be taking
Yes.
you should tell us what to do and we'll go to Six Flags in Atlanta. Like we should
And
do that until we can be
people have been,
together.
like, branching out. Yeah, like, Shanti, started she's one of my friends that I've met on Instagram. She started, gathering, girls for, like, brunch, and they did a Disney World
Uh-huh.
trip.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, but yeah, like, let's
Yeah.
keep it going.
Yes.
Let's take this global.
Yeah, because
Let's
imagine
all
what
go to
that's
Paris
like.
together.
Oh, don't get me started. I really wanted to go to Disney. I just was there I wasn't there long enough, but
No,
I will go to Disney
I'm going
in
to Tokyo
Paris.
Disney next.
Oh,
Tokyo's
okay. You know what? I'm gonna go do that first, and I'll get on your
Yeah.
calendar. We'll
I'll see you there.
but I love this because another thing that came up for me was that I was that so I was a cheerleader growing up. I was the only girl in my household. I have a sister, but in my household, it was me. And then
Mhm.
I just was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And to the point where I remember being in one of my classes and my teacher was like, you just see life in rainbows, don't you? Like it was my social studies teacher. And we were
Wow.
talking about like the Cold War or whatever. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe you should look at a rainbow or two because this is really sad. But joy, I had like two dances with it. It often was in service of others, right? I'm for a lot of reasons doing a lot of emotional work and labor in my life, even at a young age. And then also, I would be in these spaces where I'd experience joy and it would get snatched from me very
Mm.
quickly to the point that in my adulthood, which we all kind of go through our own moments where we used to be so okay and now we're not, right? I
Mhm.
think that's something that happens when you grow up and the veil comes up.
Yeah.
How would you support someone who maybe has gone through disappointments or had moments where they thought everything was okay and they were so
Mm.
excited and then the shoe did drop?
Yep.
How do you support them in
Mhm.
their relationship to joy?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I've had some big grief moments in my
Mm,
life of
mm,
losing my dad, losing my best friend, and so I get that. It's like, well, I don't want to try again because bad things happen, right? Like,
yeah,
why would I go out and make new friends when they get taken from me? So
yeah.
I totally hear you. And yeah, you think things are going one way only for it to be ripped away. Um, you've gotta heal from that, right? So take the time
Mhm,
to grieve those moments. Again, therapy.
mhm,
I do
mhm.
I use, EMDR in my practice, so eye movement
Same.
sensitization reprocessing. Good, so you guys know. It's a type of trauma therapy, but don't think that, like, you have to have a big T trauma, right, that you need
Yeah.
to heal from. Sometimes traumas are these little T, things that have happened over time. They're all connected, and it's, like, creating this belief in yourself that, like, bad things happen to me, or I don't
Mhm,
I think so many
mhm.
people feel guilty, like, "Well, I
Yes.
wasted my time today when I went on search for that matcha," or, like, "I have
Yeah.
so many other things I need to do, like, I wasn't productive enough." Those are
Mhm,
such common beliefs, and they're probably connected to those moments that you were sharing about, like, this time
mhm.
I started to feel good and then it went south, or this time I
Yeah.
thought my friendship was strong and then she abandoned me. Like,
Yeah.
they're even like friendship breakups. That's very popular in my practice right
Yes.
now. A lot of
Yeah.
people are like, okay, I don't have energy for them, or oh wow, they decided they don't have energy for me anymore. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's really popular. And
Mhm.
just because something happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to keep happening. Yes, you're a
Mhm.
little bit anxious about it. You're a little bit hesitant, that's wise.
Mhm.
Keep your eyes open, but proceed with caution. Like, we
Mhm.
can't let our past hold us back, from our
Mhm.
present and our future. That's so cliche, but,
That's true.
yeah, yeah, long story short, I mean, really healing and grieving those losses, those little T traumas, those
Mhm.
disappointments in our life, and again,
Mhm.
being vulnerable and being courageous to try
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing your story with us. And
Mm.
I think a lot of us can connect to those losses and those unexpected
Mhm.
changes. But I do
Mhm.
think it's so beautiful that you really position for us how much that is a part of our story. It doesn't have to be the whole of our story.
I like to tell myself too, like, the ancestors would want this for me, you know? Like, I
Mhm.
think after my grandma passed, I know a lot of people when they lose loved ones, like, we just get so bogged down in grief. And I've
Yeah.
noticed, again, even when a little bit of joy might creep in, this is so common, like, to have a really fun time at a funeral. Like, I know that sounds
Mhm.
bizarre, and if you haven't had
Mhm.
a funeral yet, like, God bless, but guess what? The
Mhm.
family gets together, we're
Mhm.
kikiing, we're talking about
Mhm.
memories, like, I just
Mhm.
attended my great Aunt Vera's funeral a couple months ago, and, like, family
Mhm.
flew in from all over, right? So I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god!" Like, we're all at
Mhm.
lunch, chatting, catching
Yes.
up, like, don't Aunt Vera would have wanted that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, she would have wanted us to carry on, to keep partying, to keep being happy,
Mhm.
especially our Black and brown ancestors that
Absolutely.
were not allowed to have joy, they really did
Mhm.
have to hustle, immigrant stories,
Mhm.
like,
Yes.
they want a better life for us, right?
Yeah.
They want an easier, a more joyful
Mhm.
experience, more pleasurable one.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I love how you just, like you talked about sometimes how loss is the conduit for
Mhm,
joy as well. Like,
mhm,
joy is just still there, and it's
mhm.
not the end result. Because I hear you, I absolutely start off hooting and hollering at the funeral, and then
Yeah.
next we are gonna do the electric slide and, like, wine, and
Yes!
like, we're gonna do both,
Amazing.
and I think both of the like, joy sometimes I grieve through my joy.
Mhm,
Like, in our Caribbean culture, so much of our dancing is
mhm,
how we grieve.
mhm.
So I totally
Mm.
hear that. It's really such an embodiment practice, I think is what we're
Yeah,
really getting at
yeah.
too. And you're so right about I think sometimes we find so many that voice. So you talk about that voice coming up a few times, the voice that told you like, "Who am I to do this?" And then the voice that
Mhm,
maybe, um, made it feel like we can't go on, we can't go forward because these things have happened in the past, and that voice is so powerful,
mhm.
so connected to trauma, big and small, and so inaccurate.
Yes. Yes, don't listen just because it's there don't mean it's true, it's lying. It's lying to
Mhm,
you.
mhm. Or it's trying to protect you too, right? Like,
Exactly. That's it. Mhm.
I think that's why joy feels like a vulnerability practice because it feels safer sometimes to be
Yes.
neutral or hesitant
Yes.
or anxious.
Yep. Sit on the
Mm,
sidelines. Even
mhm,
honestly, critical, judgy people, I see you.
mhm.
Not a bad person. It's a learned protective mechanism, right? You
Mm,
said it. Like it's trying to protect us. Like, oh my God, look at that guy acting like a fool out there. Like,
yeah.
why are we doing that, right? Like, it's to
Oof.
protect ourselves, to make ourselves feel better and more comfortable
Mhm.
and safer.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah.
oof.
Self-deprecation too, right? Like, I'll put
Mhm,
myself down so that nobody else does.
mhm.
Like, "Oh,
Yep,
I'm that nerdy Disney adult, like, I'm such
yep,
a loser," like, because that way
exactly.
I've said it, so when you say it, it doesn't hurt me.
Story of my childhood.
Yeah,
Man, I
yeah,
appreciate
same.
you finding empathy for the critical folks. I really do. I appreciate
Mhm.
that
It's
was deep
hard. It's hard
though.
when
It's
they're trolling online. It's hard when they're in
yeah.
your comment section. But
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, they're wounded," you know, they're wounded.
Mhm, mhm. I think that's why I appreciated it so much because I think when we're talking about all the ways that we produced our own relationships with, our lives, ourselves, and our joy, and they're strained,
Mhm,
they usually did come from those of us who are maybe not ancestors yet, or maybe they are now, but when they were here, they were the protectors of
mhm.
safety, and it came out in harmful
Yes.
ways,
Yes.
unintentional or otherwise. But if they did teach us, like, you know, not to have fun, some people never got woken up to go anywhere
Yeah.
other than school, or some of us never, you know, had these like memories of going to the movies and sneaking in pop. Like, I don't know, like some of us just did not get that. And how
Yeah.
powerful would it be to give that to yourself now as an adult?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's something I'm so grateful when I look back at memories with my dad.
Mhm.
He was a hard ass, if I can say
Mm,
that. He
mm.
was the toughest guy you've ever met. Like he had 800 people come to his funeral, but I'll
Oh,
tell you half of those people were afraid of him. He was a big coach in the community. He coached in Placentia Yorba Linda for 35 years and taught
Mhm.
English, and he played
Mhm.
sports. He was very athletic, but he was hard on us. So we had to
Yeah.
bring home straight A's. Like, we had to be president of
Mhm.
the National Honor Society. We had to play piano. We had to play sports. And
Yeah.
Friday nights, like, were for going to the sushi bar,
Yep.
and Saturday you had your tennis tournament, and then Saturday nights were for the movies. So it was very work hard, play hard. The Disney memory is, like, the one and only, but, like, I was there, So it was very, "Okay, wake up, do your chores, go to school, but then come home and play. Go outside and ride bikes with your friends." Like, so I think there can be balance, and I'll add that this is probably something else that freaks out the type A overachievers is, like, I got no time for joy. Like, I don't have time to go to movies. Like, I could think of a million other things I could be doing. And balance, balance, balance. Teach your kids balance. Yeah, they should have some chores and they should have a little homework. They should
Mhm.
really also have a childhood of fun,
Yeah.
laughter, of play, and you're modeling that, you know? So give yourself a date night. Like, please,
Mhm.
parents and just couples, anyone, like, give yourself a date night, a girls' night. Please give yourself a
Yeah.
girls' night. Um,
Yeah.
we are probably
Absolutely.
many people listening are such hard workers. Not
Mhm.
that you need to work hard to deserve rest and
Right.
joy, but, like, please balance it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just makes me think about so many of the manifestations of stress, manifestations of grief and untreated trauma and depression and anxiety. Like that harms women of color the most. Like
Mhm,
on paper, statistically, evidence wise, we get the
mhm.
sickest.
Yes.
And I think it's because we did internalize so many messages, albeit from a person who we admire and love and
Mhm,
did their best, or, there was a
mhm,
mix, or from intentionally harmful spaces, not even just in the home, but in the world. And
mhm.
so it really is resistance. It really is activism as well as a healing modality to like make room for that. And
Yeah,
I feel that so deeply because I think we can I do this myself. I would swear I don't have time,
yeah,
but then I'll get to those moments and I'm like, "Okay, what was that for?" Right? All
yeah,
that grinding, what did that
yeah.
give me? You
Mhm,
know what I mean? And
mhm.
so I think it takes some time to be open to making room for that in your life, but I do wanna kinda shout out to all the women out there who are probably listening to this and rolling their eyes to be
Yeah.
curious about how it's going to feel years later if
Mhm.
you look back and truly think all you did was work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I should give my mom a shout out as well because I feel like she's gonna be listening, being like, "You only talk about your dad." But, like, she modeled that for us too, of, like, having a
Mhm.
neighbor. It can be as simple as, like, having a neighbor come over while I'm folding laundry and we're chatting and having
Yeah.
a nice
Oh,
time sipping sweet tea together. Like,
yeah.
you don't have to take a week off and go to Disney World. Like, you can find small daily actions or even small weekly actions of
Yeah.
bringing
Can
it
you
into your life.
let's talk more about that specifically. Can we brainstorm, talk about some
Mhm.
specific ways that we can incorporate more joy, more pleasure, more
Yeah.
fun,
Yeah.
more wanderlust in our lives, both
Mhm.
in the small, minute ways, but
Mhm.
also maybe some of the big ways too.
Yeah. So I have memories of my mom laying out a big sheet and throwing
Mhm.
Play-Doh out and
Oh,
putting Sound of Music on the TV or putting Mary Poppins on the TV. Still to this day, when I smell Play-Doh or like paint, it takes me back to like that
oh, I love
VHS like
that.
day. So
Yes.
simple things like that, right? When you're doing the dishes, listen to a nice
Mhm.
audiobook. Listen to a
Mhm.
good audiobook. You don't have to be doing all the chores in silence, like,
Mhm.
miserable. Play some music. I actually recently
Mhm.
this is so random, but the Disney girlies will know. My son was like, "Play the music from Soaring Over California," and so I
Yeah.
looked and it was on Apple Music or Spotify, whatever we
Mhm.
use, and so I played it, and it led
Mhm.
to this, like, really nice, beautiful music
Mhm.
that was just
Oh
going in
my
the background.
gosh.
Light a
Yes.
candle, like, this is so
Mhm.
corny, but they say romanticize your life, right? Like,
Yes.
eat food
Yeah.
that brings you joy. I'm not saying
Mhm.
Chick-fil-A 7 days a week. Actually, it's only
Right.
open 6, so I'm definitely
Right.
not saying
No.
that. Close on Sunday.
Mhm.
But, like, get the lemonade or, like,
Yeah.
why am I so rigid that I can only eat grilled
Mhm.
chicken and broccoli? Like, Imma dip it in some pesto. Like, I'm
Oh.
on a heart health journey, I'm on a cholesterol
Uh-huh.
journey. But, like, let me, like, put some flavor with it. Let me have that little ice cream,
Yeah.
after I've put the laundry away. Daily things,
Yeah.
going to the store with a friend, going on a walk with
Mhm.
a friend, at the end of the
Mhm.
day, like, just
Mhm.
little moments, I think, go a
Yeah.
long way.
I hear that. I wear these headphones often. I will have
Mhm.
an audiobook and my music playing to the point where sometimes I'm like, okay, let me practice some silence. But
Yeah.
I really do love that. Like, how do we add it into what's
Mhm.
already there instead of feeling like we have to take a whole day? And I'm a huge
Yes.
proponent for the mental health day and
Sure.
all that. I think some of the small things that stand out for me are, well, I just really I have a weird relationship with outside. I don't like the bugs and stuff.
Who does? No one
Right,
wants to
like
be
that, the
outside.
critters, the animals, I'm not really with
Mhm.
that. I also don't enjoy sweating when I have on nice clothes. I'll sweat when I'm, like, in my
Yeah, yeah,
workout
yeah.
clothes. But I love nature. I
Yes.
love hiking. I love even
Yes.
going to a festival and just seeing the rolling
Mhm.
hills of the park. I
Mm.
love picnics, and you can just go set up a picnic,
Yes.
and you don't need, like, a
Yeah.
fancy backdrop. You truly
Yeah.
can just go and explore, and I also sometimes will play around with what I do in between clients. And so sometimes I might go have lunch with some of my colleagues, or I might go on a
Yeah.
walk at the track.
Mhm.
Something we share is that we both work in integrative settings.
Mhm.
And I don't all people think like working in sports is just maybe people know by now that it's not all that sexy to work in athletics, but I've really been intentional about like, you know what? There's a basketball game going on. I'm gonna go watch that game. I can take my notes to the
Yes.
game, or I can, I can move some things around and I can
Mm.
go see that team, or I can go support my friends at their games.
Yeah.
I want to just be, I'm really becoming averse to my office, not because I don't like my job, but because I don't like the isolation
Yeah.
and the coldness of like I gotta sit there and I gotta lock in. For what?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
For
yeah, I'm
what?
gonna go on a walk, or I'm gonna go do my notes at the cafe, or I'm going to
Yeah,
go and take this consult call, obviously privately, but, like,
yeah,
somewhere that serves me better. Yeah.
yes. Yeah, you hit the
Just
nail
being
on the head.
intentional.
I'm changing my environment. I can't change a lot about what I'm doing right
Mhm.
now. I'm in a certain season of my life, but I can make the environment feel better, and I can stop feeling like I'm just siloed
Yes.
in this focused season. I can focus with beauty and joy and excitement around me.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Okay, so before we go, you do have to tell us more about the Happiest Healers Club, how you've been really not only supporting your clients, but other therapists in their journeys with healing through joy.
Yeah, and if you just Google the Happiest Healers Club, it'll take you right to my website where you could sign up. So I started noticing on Instagram, right, all these therapists, clinicians, psychologists, psychiatrists, just mental health professionals who had
Mhm,
this love of Disney, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, like I
mhm.
thought I was the only one, or I thought I was weird."
Mhm.
Because there's a few groups like I recently went to a melanated in the park experience. There
Ooh.
was like 200 of us black folk out there. We all got a castle photo. I think I like
Oh,
posted it on my Instagram somewhere, but it
I
was
love that.
epic. So there's that. I always see
Mm,
a lot of like nurses who love Disney shirts, or like I'm a teacher who loves Disney.
mhm,
I was like, there's nothing for therapists. And like we
mhm.
we more than anyone should be like healing our inner child and connecting to it and like
Yes.
resting, and giving ourselves that gift because of how intense the work can be sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And how much we're there for others. Let's show up for ourselves. So I gathered people. It turned out great. We blew up way too big for the Instagram DMs. So I started like
Yeah.
a Discord channel. So if you go to my website and you sign up, you can join our Discord channel where we plan all of our meetups. We have a really fun one. I'm excited. In April, we're going to go in the evening. So we're going to like
Ooh.
celebrate. like, people can get, like, dinner, drinks, like, whatever they want, but, like, being there at
Mhm.
nighttime is really fun. We
Right.
do have clinicians that fly in from, like, Vegas, Utah, San
Mhm.
Francisco, Arizona, so,
Mhm.
we're open. I'm gonna host a big meetup around the PSI convention,
Yeah.
for perinatal
Nice.
support
Nice.
therapists,
Okay.
so, yeah, kind of like around conventions when the EMDR convention happens in Anaheim again this year,
Mhm.
which I'm so
Oh, they're
stoked
gonna
and
be back? Okay.
yeah, they're
Good
coming
to
back
know.
to Anaheim, so consider that,
Good
like,
to
coming
know.
out, tax
Mhm.
write-off,
Mhm.
and then your meals in the park are tax write-offs because 'cause you're networking. Because we really that's the
Exactly.
thing, we really do. So we usually meet up at, like, the Jolly Holiday. I'm just dropping all of this
Yeah.
Disney code words for from a Disney folk.
Yeah.
But, we sit around, we grab a coffee or a breakfast, whatever, and we kind of introduce ourselves to the group. We talk about, like, am I taking new clients? Who's my ideal client? What insurances do I accept? Am I virtual or in person? So we're really connecting and networking. And then I have, like, a
Mhm.
directory on my website for,
Mhm.
the clinicians in s based on
Mhm.
your tier. So it's really just become
Mhm.
this, like, beautiful club of people are making, like, lifelong friendships. I
Yeah.
literally will go to people, I'll be like, "Oh, how did you guys meet? Like, how do you guys know each other?" They're like, "From your club." I was
Yeah.
like, "No, you guys seem like you've been besties for years." They're like, "No, we
Yeah.
literally met at Disneyland via you." So, like,
Ugh.
that's just been, I feel like, a matchmaker.
Yes.
And also, I'm
Yes.
not taking new clients. Like, I'm in a very busy season of my life with my kids. I'm full with my private practice. I have an EAP role as well. So I'm booked and busy, so it's so nice having this directory of people that therapists that I personally know.
Yes.
Whenever a new client
Mhm.
reaches out, I just send them to the directory, and
Yeah.
we have, like, a space on our Discord, like, "Hey, who wants to take this couple's client?" Or, "Hey," like, I do
Mhm.
case consultation groups for people. My husband
Mhm.
teaches us how to, like, optimize our SEO because he's a
I
tech
love it.
bro. So it's just like
Yes.
it's like everything a therapist could need, and then
Yeah.
adding in the joy and the intentional, like, Disney of it all
Yes.
is really
Yes.
amazing. So we're hosting
I
our first ever
love that.
retreat this year. Yeah, I'm
Wonderful.
very excited. It'll be in Anaheim, of course.
Uh-huh.
I'm really excited and maybe next year even doing it bigger at Disneyland, like,
Yes.
TBD, but
Yes.
it's
I love
really been a
it.
labor of love and just meeting people
Yeah.
and making friendships and networking at Disneyland, come on, that's
Like,
awesome.
what how much better can it get?
Yeah.
I just that's the point, like, this is about community, like,
Mhm.
that joy is shared, whether it's a relationship to your city, the relationship to yourself, but
Yes.
also the relationships to other people and all of that
Yeah.
was sprouted from, like, a willingness and a permission to
Yeah.
be joyful.
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh.
Wow.
Oh, I love that. So we'll definitely link all that information in the show notes so that folks can
Yeah.
find you.
Mhm.
As we close today, what would you say to a Black girl who is repairing her relationship with joy and happiness and pleasure?
I would say to the Black girl who is maybe struggling with her relationship with joy, to the Black girl who feels like it's too vulnerable or she's too busy or she feels too guilty when she starts to feel joyful, I'm giving you permission to go for
Mhm.
it. Give yourself permission to take baby steps towards
Yeah.
feeling the joy. It doesn't have to be Disneyland. I apologize if this was too Disneyfied for some of you. A lot
Not
of my
me.
f yeah, you're like, "I'm good."
I'm
But if you live
good.
far away, if you are a Canadian listener, step outside, like, you live
Mhm.
in the most beautiful place. There's joy all
Mhm.
around you, but be intentional
Yeah.
with it, and don't be
Yeah.
afraid to live your life a little more out loud, to be a little
Yeah.
more silly, goofy,
Mhm.
with your joy. At the end of the
Mhm.
day, like, you're not gonna have regrets, that
Yeah.
you put yourself out there, that you laughed, that you made a
Yeah.
new connection. I think
Mm.
you will have regrets if you hold yourself back, right? And
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's gonna be 800 people at your funeral, but, like, put yourself out there and see what happens.
But the people who do come, they're gonna love you and they're gonna remember your smile. They're gonna remember your joy.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I always talk about, like, how can we leave a legacy of healing and love. And I feel like I want to now add, like, how do we leave a legacy of healing, love, and joy?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah, the
my
world needs more
goodness.
joy. The world needs
Yeah.
and I want to add to the Black girl who is, um, feeling like, "How can I have joy at a time like this? Like, this isn't the time
Mhm.
for joy. Our administration, like, we need to be fighting, we need to be angry." Yes, we do, and we need to have joy because they don't want us to have
Mhm.
joy, okay?
Right.
Like, not to be a
Right.
conspiracy theorist, but they want your energy drained.
Yep.
They want your head on a swivel. They don't
Yep.
want you organized. They don't want you clear-headed. They don't want you
Mhm.
joyful.
Yep.
So, rest,
Yep.
experience joy, and then
Yep.
we march, right?
Yep.
Like, that's
That's
how it's
right.
always needed to be. The slaves were out
Mhm.
there singing as they
Yep.
were state getting ready for their rebellions, and
Right.
honestly, same.
Right. Same.
Mhm.
Same. Absolutely. It gets to happen in conjunction. It's not something that cancels. It's not
Yes.
mutually exclusive at
Yeah.
all. In fact, it might be our anchor. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. Jessica, thank you so much. This was
You're
it literally,
welcome.
like, I'm not even being cliche. It literally brought me so much joy. Like I feel bright and
Aw,
and
same.
like and not because it's like you like don't feel the bad feelings. It's like I'm just like really leaning into the good.
Yeah, this was really nice.
Uh, Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
us.
Thanks for having me.
If you like this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and rate the podcast, as well as subscribe to the Scene Sunday newsletter, where I'll share a little bit more about each episode and I'll link information from our guests. So be sure to share the love and come back to this when you need a reminder or a good hug. And once again, to the Black girl who is allowing herself to open up to joy, even in the smallest ways, I see you and I hope that you feel loved in the ways that heal. Take care. Thanks for tuning in to the Black Girl Scene podcast. This podcast is meant for information purposes only and is not meant to substitute for medical advice. Although I'm a licensed therapist, this podcast does not establish a clinical relationship with you, the listener, nor does it replace a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. For more information and resources on finding a therapist or support, please visit www.blackgirlscene.com/support.